Uh, Good morning to all of you. So we have successfully completed the chapters that has been assigned to me in the paper one. Now I have to move on to the paper two. All of you know in the paper two already Sureka madam has started with ethology or what you call the animal behavior, and I will start with some of the economic geology portion or what you call the applied geology portion, where you have a lot of topics to study, starting from sericulture, permaculture, poultry, dairy, pisciculture, bee culture, beekeeping, everything you have to discuss here. I will be engaging few chapters, and Sureka madam meanwhile will join and complete the rest of the portions. So here the one thing which I want to make sure in the very beginning or clear in the very beginning that uh, it's an applied geology course topics. In the sense, what you have learned in geology over this almost 2 years, you have to apply some of your knowledge uh, and find a livelihood for you. In the sense, after completing your BSc, if you don't want to go for any job or higher education, what is the thing is what the best thing you can do is you can concentrate any one of these things and take it as a profession. But certainly whatever the information you get here may not be sufficient to start your own enterprise or the X one, but still that uh, you will understand, you will come to know what exactly these are. Lot of dust here, huh? Don't think otherwise. uh, yeah but you will come to know uh, what are the things which you can practice in order to find a livelihood after your. So for that matter, they have given the syllabus. In the syllabus, the university has prescribed certain topics. Suppose in this, if you find any of the topics are interesting and you think that you can do that on your own, then uh, there are many other organization which I will give you the provide you the address and other things from where you can get more knowledge and more training also. Nowadays, for all these things, there are training courses are carried out by the government as well as by many of the agriculture universities, which uh, prepare you for to take up such challenges after the completion of your BS. With that intention, these topics are prescribed for you. Uh, Here, we will give you some of the insight of the things, what is expected, what you are going to do, all those things you will come to know that. How to do exactly, how to implement it, how to manage it, all those things you need still some training and all those things which will be provided in the future by different agencies, either by the government or even there are many NGOs are also involved in that. So you can take up this. For example, in Kumta only, if you want to go for this bee culture, apiculture, what you call, or if you want to go for sericulture or vermiculture, in here there's a syndicate bank root set is there. There they organize something 12 weeks program. Such programs you can join and make yourself more comfortable with that. So with this background, we will continue. We will start the different topic that has been prescribed for you. First, let me start with the sericulture. Why I have selected the sericulture? Because you have some idea about the sericulture. Uh, Especially most of you are in your class are girls, so I know all of you are fond of the silk. So that's why also I think it is better to start with the sericulture. What is this sericulture? Sericulture refers to, actually, there are two things when I talk about the sericulture. One is the moriculture, and then comes the sericulture. Actually, the sericulture is the silk farming, that is the raising of the silkworm for the production of silk, and then marketing those silk. That is what you call sericulture. Uh, all of you know that sericulture means we think about the silkworm. That is the most common, most popular silkworm in our part is the Bombax mori. It is the most widely used and intensively studied animal. We can say that. Um, this Bombax mori gives out natural protein fiber uh, from where you can extract the silk thread and make the apparels out of it. Uh, this protein, the silk protein, it is mainly composed of fibroin and produced by the silk glands possessed by this Bombax mori. So the sericulture is an agro-based industry. Why I am talking it is an agro-based industry is, see, I have told you sericulture involves two things. The first part is actually the moriculture, where these silkworms are very, very specific to the host plant for the purpose of food. They depend on the mulberry leaves. So if you want to go for sericulture, invariably you should be an agriculturist where you will be cultivating the mulberry plants first, and once you get the mulberry plants full of leaves, then you can go for starting the sericulture. It's an agro-based industry, and uh, this sericulture is an agro-based industry. One thing where there's a lot of agriculture in planting and harvesting the mulberry leaves are concerned, and more than that, usually this is undertaken by the agriculturist only, those who have a land to grow the mulberry plant. And then uh, many agriculturists in India or in many of the countries, the problem is agriculturists, though they have agriculture, the agriculture may not be able to provide them the occupation for 24 into 7 for all 365 days of the year. They will not get the work in their agriculture form, or even if they have daily, they get some few hours, few spare time, then they prefer to undertake some other work along with the agriculture, and the sericulture is the best possible alternative arrangement for them, where they can uh, cultivate rear the silkworms and harvest the cocoons and market that and earn some extra money out of it. So that's why also it's an agro-based industry. In fact, the sericulture itself is considered as an agricultural operation. It's an agro-based industry. So that's why even if you start sericulture, uh, whatever the money that you get, it is exempted from the tax also. You need not pay even a single pay as a tax, and at the same time you need not keep the books also. To justify your income, because it is considered as an agro-based industry and totally exempted from all the income tax. So this, and India is the second largest country with respect to the silk production is concerned. First is China, and second is the India. In India, Karnataka is the first stands first as far as the silk production is concerned. Um, So the sericulture or silk farming is ultimately nothing but rearing of silkworm for the production of silk. And all of you know that silk is known as the queen of textiles, and it is also known as biosteel. Why? Steel is known for its strength. Compared to the fibers, either cotton or any other thing, the silk fibers have the maximum strength. So that's why they are also called as the biosteel, because of the strength they have. So this is the sericulture. The sericulture is a cottage industry also, especially cottage industry, in the sense it doesn't require any large scale investment here. With whatever the uh, locally available material that you have, certainly you will be able to start this sericulture. And it doesn't require very big buildings or any other sophisticated instruments and all those things. It needs only your manpower and mainly some of the locally available material. But certainly, the if you think in terms of the investment of the money is very less, but the employment that generates is huge, especially in the village folk. Even uh, rural woman empowerment is made possible by this particularly the sericulture, and helps in the poverty elevation or upliftment of the rural agriculturists or women folk. So here, uh, it is one of the most profitable also activities in rural sector. Generally speaking, sometimes in any business or in agriculture also, sometimes there is a chance to incur loss because of some of the things which are beyond the control of the agriculturist. So otherwise, it's a more profitable business, and there's a always anytime the a ready market is available. That's a very very important thing in agriculture. So whatever may be the price, but you should have a market. uh, Sometime what happens, the market may not be there, then whatever the production that agriculturist does goes waste. So that's why it is not so. There's a uh, complete well organized marketing is there, and generally it's a more profitable activity in the rural area. With the time that people spend on sericulture, whatever the output they get is really rewarding. And here, and more than that, the indigenous technology, it doesn't need any state of the art technology or any more complicated scientific technology and all those things. Yes, technology is so simple, even a layman agriculturists are usually they are considered as uh, I mean, I don't say that now they are illiterate, but they are not highly qualified. Even they can understand these indigenous, locally available technology, and that's also available at a very low cost. So that's why the sericulture has lot of scope, and and it's a regular activity and quick results. This is also there. The gestation period is very small here, in the sense in some of the in many times in agriculture and horticulture you have to plant and wait for years together. It is not so here. Once you have a ready-made mulberry plantation, then you can have this you can raise the sericulture in batches one after the other, and the result and the income is also very quick, and the yield you will get the yield very quickly and regularly also. You can uh, continue this uh, throughout the year, and naturally there's a large demand, very good growing demand for the silk and popularity of hand woven silk in the west. What is happening now, there is a market for anything handmade products. If something is done in the machine using the technology and other things, okay, it has market, but uh, the handmade products have better markets, and people in the West they prefer many times the woven silks, the handmade silks, and popularity of the hand woven uh, silk. So because of all these things, there's a demand and profit, and even we have a very strong domestic demand, isn't it? All of you know, all of you would like to have at least few silk cloths. Even ladies are more attracted toward the silk. Even gents, if they wish to have silk kurta, pajama like that, and especially among the festival occasions or in marriages and any this thing. There's a huge demand. Strong domestic market is there for this. In, and more than that, there is a gap between supply and production. So there's a huge demand, but the production is low. So that's why we are importing the silk from China. Chinese silk is also coming to India because of the huge market here. There's a growing demand, but there's a large gap between supply and demand. So when in anything where there's a uh, gap between supply and demand, then naturally the prices soar high. Um, Even there is a scope for establishing large production units and organized sector. But unfortunately, still it has remained as a cottage industry, village industry, and no big players are here where people can start the agriculture, sericulture with the establishment of large production units and in an organized sector. So because of all these reasons, more than that, the government is actively encouraging the sericulture by providing subsidies and all those things. Even they will give you minimum support price for the cocoons. And because of all these things, the sericulture has a very good opportunity and always in demand. So now when I talk about the silk, most of the time we think that it's the mulberry silk, the silk what we see. But apart from that, also there are 4 5 different types of silk. The first one is the mulberry silk, where the silkworm is Bombax mori. More mainly, this is cultivated in India, China, and some part of USA. Like that, we have Tassar silk, uh, tropical Tassar silk, and temperate Tassar silk, Muga silk, Eri silk, like that. Different types of silks are there. And uh, when we talk about the silk, it is all different types of silkworms. And there are 5 major types of silk of commercial importance. And these silks are obtained from different species of silkworm. Uh, when I say different species of silkworm, their host plants are also different. For example, the Bombax mori, what we call mulberry silk, the host plant is mulberry, but for others it is different. Except mulberry, other varieties of silk are generally termed as non-mulberry silk. So we can classify the silk into 2 categories. One is mulberry silk, which is the main silk because maximum silk production comes from this mulberry silk, and others what we call non-mulberry silk. Um, and in India, we have the distinction of producing all the commercial varieties of silk, not only mulberry silk, even others also. Uh, so now the bulk of the commercial silk produced in the world comes from this mulberry silk. And mulberry silk, which all of you know, comes from the silkworm, Bombax mori, which feeds on mulberry plant, that's the Morus alba or Morus indica. Yes, Morus alba or Morus indica is the mulberry plant. And mulberry silk, that's the Bombax mori, feeds on the leaves of this Morus alba or Morus indica. Yes, then in India, major mulberry silk production comes from Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and West Bengal, and part of Jammu and Kashmir. Uh, Together, these states we produce around 92% of country's totally mulberry silk. Country's total raw mulberry silk production comes from Karnataka, Andhra, West Bengal, and Tamil Nadu, and part of Jammu and Kashmir. Here, mulberry silk is produced by Bombax mori and feeds on mulberry plant, that is Morus alba and Morus indica. Yes, ಏನು ನಾಯ್ಸ್ ಅದ ಯಾರೋ ನಿಮ್ದು ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಆಫ್ ದ microphone. Okay. Then the next type of silk is Tassar silk. So this is a Tassar silk. Enteraria. It has been produced by Enteraria Proily. Yes, what's going on? ಏನ್ ರಮ್ಯಾ ಯಾಕೆ ಮೈಕ್ರೋಫೋನ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡು? ರಮ್ಯಾ, 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 ಮೈಕ್ರೋಫೋನ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಯಾ? ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಅವಳು ಫೋನು ಇದು ಮಾಡಿಟ್ಟು ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾಳೆ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ನಾವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. Okay. Now, this tassar silk, it is generated by a silkworm known as Enteria royale, and it is a why it's also called as oak tassar is this silkworm, that is Enteria royale, it feeds on oak plants, the leaves of the oak plant, that is Quercus serrata or Quercus uh, incana, and that is usually found in the sub-Himalayan belt of India, where naturally oak trees are grown there, covering the states of this northeast, especially Manipur, Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya, and even part of Jammu Kashmir, usually where there is a cold weather condition. So this is the silk um, that is obtained from this Enteria royale, which feeds on the oak plant, that is known as tassar silk. And of course, again, the China is the major producer of tassar silk in the world. And in China, they have another species, the Enteria perni. Then the next one is eri silk. It is also known as Endi or Erandi also, but more popularly it is known as eri silk. It's a multi-voltine silk spun from open-ended cocoon, not closed cocoon, but open-ended cocoons. Okay, what is multi-voltine? So in a silkworm, before that only I would, that's a voltinism. Voltinism refers to the number of life cycle they can complete in a year. Based on that, univoltine, bivoltine, and multivoltine they call. Uh, Univoltine means it can complete only one life cycle in any year, whereas bivoltine it can complete two life cycles, and multivoltine means more number of life cycles. Actually, the silk produced by univoltine is the superior most silk. Bivoltine is second to that, and multivoltine is the inferior silk. So this eri silk, uh, Philosamia resini, the name of the silk moth, uh, Philosamia resini, it's a multivoltine. It can complete more number of generations, and the cocoons are open-ended. And eri silk, it is produced by the domesticated silkworm, that is the Philosamia resini, and one more is that is the Attacus resini. Uh, these feeds on mainly the castor leaves. That is the Ricinus communis is the scientific name of the castor leaves, and it feeds on the castor leaves. Uh, Especially these silks are used for some coarse work like making shawls or chadars, own use by the tribals. But now in India, this culture is practiced mainly in the northeastern states of Assam, and now it is also found in Bihar, West Bengal, and Orissa, because it is also having a beautifully woven, intricate with uh, beautiful design. You can prepare shawls, curtains, and all those things, and it has a very big market also. And the another type of non-mulberry silk is muga silk. So this is the golden yellow color silk. There's the, of course, it is the indigenous silk, the found and developed in India only. Because mulberry silk it originated in China, So this is the pride of Assam state. So whenever you get a chance to visit Assam, there you can get the fabrics made out of muga silk, and it is obtained from the semi-domesticated multi-voltine silkworm, that is Antheraria assamensis, and this feeds on the aromatic leaves of uh, plants, some plants, and uh, solo plants, they call it as the Michaela species, very similar to our like our ಸಂಪಿಗೆ plant ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಸಂಪಿಗೆ ಗಿಡ ಅದರ ರೀತಿ ಇದೆ Michaelas. Leaves are also aromatic, or Listia species plant, and this is it is the integral part of the Assam and integral part of the tradition and culture of the Assam state. Um, Muga silk is the best quality silk, and it is used in high value products like saris, chadars, for anything, for any fabric you can use this Muga silk. So that's why the Muga silk is also very popular and very costly silk. So these are the, see, the mulberry silk moth, this is the tassar silk moth, the eri silk moth, and this is the Muga silk moth. These are the photographs of the moths of different mulberry and non-mulberry silks. Now, after having studied the different types of silk that is available here, and it is utilized and cultivated and produced in India, uh, before understanding the rearing of the silkworm, it is again, once again, why I am using the word once again, you have studied the same thing in your BSc 1, BSc first semester. But again, they have put it here, so that's why uh, you have to study about the life history of mulberry silk moth. Because the mulberry silk moth, they belong to any silk moth, they belong to Insecta, class Insecta, order Lepidoptera. And then the silk moth, Bombax mori. So the adult, it is a very complicated life cycle. It has four stages of in the life cycle. This Bombax mori is a medium-sized moth, about 2.5 centimeters in length and pale creamy white in color. As you have seen in the pale creamy white in color, this is the photograph of the Bombax mori, that is the mulberry silk moth. And here, this moth is unisexual in nature and has a very short lifespan, 2 to 3 days. I am talking about the adult. Adult survives only 2 to 3 days. Very short lifespan. Unisexual. So the life cycle starts when the male and female silk moth unite, and the fertilization is internal after the copulation, uh, when, because the adults will survive only 2 to 3 days, and they do not feed anything at this stage. So just when they emerge out, male and female undertake the copulation uh, for about 2 to 3 hours, that is, and fertilizes the eggs, and the fertilization is internal, as I have told. Immediately after the copulation, the female starts laying the egg. The egg laying will complete within 1 day. It may start from 1 to 24 hours. That is, within 1 day the egg laying completes, and one moth lays about 400 to 500 eggs, depending on the climatic condition. And usually, the eggs are laid in clusters. Where do they lay? In nature, they lay the eggs on the mulberry leaves only. In nature, they lay the eggs on the mulberry leaves only. The eggs are having some glue-like substance. With the help of it, it attaches. But okay, I will come to that later. See, this is the uh, egg laying. With the mating, once the male and female mate, they lay the eggs. And these fertilized eggs. So usually, egg will remain for 10 to 12 days, and they are laid in clusters, 400 to 500 eggs by one female. It lays there, and then uh, yellowish. Usually, the eggs are yellowish white, semi-round, and almost 1 milligram in weight. We can see that. Then uh, inside the egg, that develops and larva comes out. So that's why the development is indirect. The larva within uh, uh, larva. Okay, here only I let me talk about that. This larva shows molting or what you call ecdysis. Of course, almost all insect larvae show this molting or ecdysis. So this also shows molting and molting or ecdysis. What is molting? Molting is nothing but shedding the old cuticle. The larva, if you see, externally it is covered by a thick cuticle. A newly hatched larva has a flexible cuticle inside which the larva can grow. But after some time, the cuticle becomes hard and no more growth is possible inside this capsule. So that's why the what the larva does is it shed that old cuticle and new cuticle develops below. Uh, this shedding of all the old cuticle is known as molting or ecdysis. And the larva, the age of the larva is uh, specially understood in terms of the instar. We say that larva is in the first instar, second instar, third instar, fourth instar, like that. What do you mean by instar? Instar is the time period between the two successive moths. Between the two successive moths. So when the egg hatches and the young one comes out, the first day onwards, it is known as larva is said to be in the first instar. And after 25 to 30 days, the larva shed its old cuticle and develops a new cuticle. Then we call it as it is in the second instar. When it shed the cuticle again, then and enters into third instar. Like that, fourth and fifth instar. And here, the egg will remain in the egg will not or egg will take 9 to 12 days to hatch. Usually the egg is yellowish white, semi-round and weighs about 1. Then when the egg hatches, the larva enters into first instar and in that the larva will remain in for 25 to 30 days. At this condition, the larva is greenish in color and cylindrical. So here in this photograph you can see greenish hatching take 3 to 5 days and uh, it is greenish in color now. And then within 2.5 3 days maximum 3 to 4 days we can say that uh, the larva metamorphoses by shedding the old cuticle. Now you call it as caterpillar. It is about 3 to 3.5 inches long and usually at this caterpillar stage it bears 3 pairs of thoracic legs and 5 pairs of prolegs. And the last pair of this leg is modified into a clasper. Um, then from there, from the first molt, it may take 2.5 to 3 days. Then it enters into second molt. Second molt to third molt, it takes 3 to 4 days. And third molt to fourth instar, it will take some 4 days. And after fourth molt, it enters into the final molting and within 6 to 8 days. And this is how the ripened silkworm appears. In So now uh, in each instar, the larva grows in size. Remember, when the larva is ready, caterpillar is ready for molting, it becomes off feed. It doesn't feed at all. But immediately after the molting, the larvae are voracious feeders. So they eat continuously. That's the S1. Then after fifth instar, the larva enters into a stage what you call pre-pupa, which may take for 4 to 7 days, and then pupa stage, which will be lasting for 10 to 12 days. So, except this larval stage, uh, the silk moth is non-feeding stage. And even during larval stage also, when it is ready for molting, again it stops feeding. ಇಲ್ಲಿ in local language these instars are called as ಜ್ವರ. ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರೇ ಸಿರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಅಷ್ಟ ಹತ್ರ ಕೇಳಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ, ಯಾವ್ದು ಯಾವ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಜ್ವರ ಆಯ್ತು, ಎರಡನೇ ಜ್ವರ ಆಯ್ತು, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮೋಲ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಮೋಲ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಯ್ತು. Because why they call it as fever, uh, they behave like that. uh, Suppose if we have fever, how do we behave? We don't like to eat anything, we will be very lazy, uh, and we are not active. So same symptoms these silkworms also show when they are ready for molting. So that's why in the local sericulturists they call it as jwara, modne jwara, erdne jwara. That refers to first molting, second molting, like that. Then in the pupa stage, it starts building the spinning the cocoons, and spinning the cocoons will take 2 to 4 days. And in the cocoon stage, it may remain from 10 to 12 days. Then afterwards, the cocoon metamorphoses into pupa metamorphoses into an adult. Then it cut open the cocoon and comes out, and robust creamy white moth, and it mates and lays the egg and dies. For opening the cocoon, they secrete an alkaline solution which dissolve the fibers, sericin fiber. Silk protein is known as sericin fiber and comes out. So just again to repeat, the eggs laid by the female moth are rounded and white in color. Um, with the increase in age, they become darker and darker day by day. Usually, hatching takes place after 10 days of incubation, and the larva comes out, and the larva is popularly known as caterpillar. In the silkworm, the most important phase in the silk moth life cycle, it is nothing but the hatching. Once the caterpillar, after hatching, the caterpillar needs continuous supply of food. Remember, so that's why your mulberry garden should be ready. Once your mulberry garden is ready, then you can think of going for rearing the silk moth. So there's the so because once the larva comes out means it is a voracious feeder. It needs continuous supply of food. As the larva grows, the food requirement also increases every day. Now, newly hatched caterpillars, as I have told you, are about only zero point 0.3 centimeter in length and pale yellowish or white in color. If you observe closely, it has 12 segments, and in the abdominal region has 10 segments, having 5 pairs of pseudolegs. Then it shows molting. First molting, second molting, third molting, and fourth molting. Caterpillar gets changed to, after first molting, it enters into second instar. After second molting, it enters into third instar. After third molting, it enters into fourth instar. And after fourth molting, it enters into fifth instar respectively. Molting, as I have told you, shedding the outermost cuticle. It takes about 21 to 25 days after hatching. The larva will come to fifth instar after fourth molting. When it has taken birth, it is only 0.3 centimeters in length. Now, in the fifth instar, the length of the silkworm may go up to 7.5 centimeters in length. And it develops the salivary gland, silk gland. Then, in the fifth instar, it stops feeding and undergoes pupation, that is, changes into pupa. See, this is the which is pre-pupal condition. Where in the pupa, the caterpillar stops feeding and move corner among the leaves, and then it starts secreting sticky fluid from the silk glands. For this, the silk glands are provided with the spinnerets, and it takes the shape of a long, fine single thread, and this single thread, that the secreted fluid from the silk gland on exposure to air, it hardens, and it is wrapped around the body of the caterpillar in the form of covering called cocoon. See, it has just started, and afterwards spinning, it develops into a hard shell-like structure, what is known as cocoon. So the cocoon is a white color bed of the pupa, and it is threads are irregular, while inner threads are regular. The outer threads are irregular in size, but whereas inner threads are regular. Then a very interesting thing is the binding of the threads round the cocoon is very interesting, and um, very quickly going phenomenon achieved by the constant round motion of the head of the caterpillar. So the head of the caterpillar uh, rotates the head continuously in round motion from one side to another side, and along with that, the silk fibers are woven around it. If you observe that weight of one cocoon is about 1.8 to 2.2 grams. Out of 1.8 to 2.2 grams, the weight of the cocoon is 0.45 grams, and rest is silk. Rest is silk. And so this is, size also you can clearly see the eggs, hatched worms, young larva 10 days old, late age larva 14 days old. Then the cocoons are mounted on a tray. Then see, the cocoons are formed like that. So now, if you have to market the cocoon, actually you should not allow the moth to emerge, because if the moth emerges, there is no value for cocoon, because moths to emerge, they will dissolve the uh, cocoon and come out. As a result, the fibers will be broken, the thread is broken. uh, Otherwise it's a continuous thread, which is high demand in the market. So that's why in the cocoon stage, at this stage, see, they are marketed. And before the emergence of the adult only, the cocoons are to be killed. That I will come. So now, Borax mori, it has four stages: egg, larva. In eggs there are two types. One is diapause type of eggs. Then non-diapause eggs. So usually the diapause eggs or hibernating type eggs laid by the silk moth, usually in the temperate or cold. So as a result, they can complete only one cycle in a life cycle in a year. So such are univoltine and very costly and very superior silk you get it. Then non-diapause eggs. Silk moths in the tropical and subtropical region like India, there is no hibernation or dormancy. Immediately eggs hatch and pupa comes out. And that is, if like that, if you are able to carry out two life cycle, it is called as bivoltine. If it is more than two, it is called as multivoltine. After knowing this, we should think about rearing of the silk. How to rear the silk. So nowadays, the sericulture department is so active. The person who wish to start the sericulture, he is provided with the eggs. Eggs are given from the granages. Um, these eggs, in that what is done is, usually the female moth is made to lay the eggs on a paper card or a black box. Instead of the nature, it lays the eggs on the mulberry leaves. But here, it is not on the mulberry leaves. It is on the uh, paper cards or black boxes, because the transportation will be easy for them. So now, the granages I have told you, they get it from the granages, the eggs. Granages are the places where seeds are produced in large scale. And in India, most of the granages are government owned granages. And so that the farmer will get disease free eggs. Many times the disease may come along with the eggs. In order to avoid that, uh, public administration doesn't popularize producing the eggs in their rearing house. No. Instead of that, the farmers are asked to collect the eggs, the cocoons, and uh, usually in the granages, even the temperature is also maintained at 23 to 25 degrees Celsius. In a wooden tray, where the relative humidity is also maintained at the rate of 80 to 70 to 80%. So these granages are the places where seeds are produced in large scales. So now the agriculturists are provided with this one. Now, if you want to start the rearing the agriculture, first thing is you should select the silkworm race. Which silkworm race? Whether it's multivoltine, because it can, which completes 5 to 6 life cycle per year, non-hibernating eggs, or univoltine or bivoltine. It uh, depends. Though univoltine and bivoltine, they produce superior quality silk, but they are we should be able to manage and maintain the relative humidity and temperature. If there's a lot of humidity and temperature fluctuation is there, you don't get uh, good univoltine and bivoltine races. So, but the multivoltine, though it produces inferior quality silk compared to univoltine and bivoltine, but these are the very hardy uh, races, and usually in most part of Karnataka and in India, uh, we prefer multivoltine because they are the robust works. Hybrids of multivoltine and bivoltine, they are reared commercially for superior quality and huge quantity of eggs in the granages. Because selecting the seeds is a very very important thing. The seeds in the sense it is the eggs here, they should be disease free, and you require in large quantities, and that you get it from the granages. Now, before start of the sericulture, we should one should have the moriculture, that is the cultivation of the mulberry. So about this and other things we will discuss in the next class. For the time being, for the day, I will stop here. And if you have any doubt or anything, just you can please. ಏನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತಾ ತನುಷ,
Yes, sir.
ಸೌಮ್ಯ,
Yes,
ವಿವೇಕ್,
sir.
ವಿವೇಕ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತೇನಪ್ಪ, ಕಾಡ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತಾ
Yes,
ವಿವೇಕ್?
sir.
Okay, then we will
Yes,
meet in the next class.
sir.
Okay, thank you for attending the class. Have a good day.